everyone, a very good morning. You tuned into Market Fatafat on ET now. I'm Mubina Kapasi. Markets looking pretty strong as the rally has resumed on the Lal Street. The Nifty is in fact making its way or attempting a dash towards the 12,000 mark, and you have the Sensex that's at a record high of 40,390. So great going for the markets, for both the indices and the Nifty Bank once again in fine fettle. In fact, take a look at the SGX Nifty and the Nifty futures, which has been able to conquer the 12,000 mark already. So it's certainly a nice bull run we're seeing on the Lal Street. But here's another piece of good news, and that's coming in from the stables of ET now, as your favorite business news channel is yet again the #1 watched business news channel with a whopping share of 62%. Week after week, ET now continues to dominate the charts. This has been no exception, 62% market share. And for that, we'd like to thank all our viewers for continuing to place the faith. Okay, well, on that note now, let me introduce our research analyst as well as our technical expert to talk about all the big movers and shakers, as that's what Market Fatafat is all about. So let me bring on board Pranay and Soumya from our research team. And to talk about the technicals of individual indices and stocks, we have with us Mr. N.S. Fidai. Mr. Fidai, thank you so much for joining in. Pranay, Soumya, to you as well. And let's kickstart the show with the biggest gainer of today, and that's Infosys. What a bounce seen from that level that we saw post the whistleblower allegations, and now where the management is saying that they have not received any evidence. So Pranay, what exactly have they said, and what's the way forward? Pranay, if you can hear me, Infosys, what's the way forward now that the management says they've not received any evidence to corroborate the whistleblower's allegations?
Well, it's a relief because when that news of misgovernance and perhaps other serious allegations of not using proper financial reporting came, the stock fell from 750 to 650 levels, and led to, in a case of review and derating by some of the analysts, that until we have full conclusion and clarity on this, they would not recommend this as a buy. But the fact that as an interim update, the management has provided that as of now the auditors have been reviewing some processes and nothing untoward has come to light as yet. Also, there isn't any evidence that has come forth with regards to corroborating these allegations. So things seem fine as of now, which is why the stock has seen a nice relief rally. Though I must point out that the investigations are still on, haven't been completed yet. So there are still some details perhaps that can come out, but that would take another few days before the company updates it on the exchange or speaks to the analysts.
Okay, 723 for an Infosys today in trade, massive rally. See. Okay, continuing with the countdown, Mr. Fidai, the last 6-7 odd days that we have seen the Nifty and the Sensex rally, a significant chunk of the contribution has come from the banking stocks, and in particular the PSU banking space. In fact, 4th straight week of a rally for the Nifty Bank, on a net basis. What do you make of this continued up move? Because we are at 30,600 for this index as well.
Continue to remain bullish till the Bank Nifty stays above 30,200. Overall, it is in a good momentum, but somehow, the candles that we see on the chart are somewhat dicey at this moment. But still, we will continue till it stays above 30,200, and we will buy on dips right now on up to 30,350, and we see an upside of 30,800, 850. More momentum can follow about 30,900, Mubina.
Right, great up move seen in the Nifty Bank, and that's Mr. Fidai's recommendations. Jindal Steel is something we'd like to flag off, and there's lots of events surrounding this stock which is going to make it the cynosure of all eyes. Not only do we have the second quarter numbers tomorrow, but we also have the Gare Palma IV bidding. This is an important mine for Infosys because of the proximity, because of the quantum of ore in the mine as well. All of this is something that makes it a very important mine. Do remember that it did belong earlier to JSPL, but then of course it was taken away due to due to the entire contentious, issue that had taken place back around 4-5 years ago. Bidding has, by the way, already started for Gare Palma. It started at 11 a.m. Last time I checked, the price was at 174 rupees per million ton. Remember, Gare Palma is only 40 to 50 odd kilometers away from the Raigarh steel plant. So, and with that 141 million ton of reserves, it's certainly something that will bode very well for a JSPL trade. Okay, let's move on. And Soumya, let's talk about Zee Entertainment. After seeing a nice uptick in the last 2-3 trading sessions today, a tempered move for this one.
Well, yes, Mubina, we have a news development which is not really a positive when it comes to Zee Entertainment. According to Economic Times reports, what we're gathering is the BTB has decided to sell pledged shares of Zee Entertainment. Well, these are pledged by promoters as security for their loans. And now, if this stake sale happens, this would reduce the shareholding of Chandra and family to nearly single digits, which may hamper their losing and may impact their control over the company. Not just this, BTB has roped in JP Morgan and Citi for this planned stake sale. Let's see how it how the developments pan out going forward. But as of now, the stocks definitely will be acting negatively, down by over 3.7%.
Okay, that's Zee Entertainment for you, and it's 4% of losses, once again below 300 rupees. Ashok Leyland, remember that we have seen a bout of recovery come by in auto stocks, but in more specifically PV sales, like Maruti did well, M&M did okayish, but still M&HCV has been not exactly a great performer. Even the October sales were not that great. We did see the stock price of Ashok Leyland crack after it announced its October sales, and now yet again, while no other company has yet announced no non-working days, because we do believe that there has been significant inventory correction, Ashok Leyland has done so. It has in fact said that it will be observing maybe 0 and up to 12 non-working days in the month of November. So it's something that's keeping the stock a bit tempered and trade at 75 rupees. Okay, and Mr. Fidai, let's talk about the bounce seen in a Bharti Infratel. I mean, it's continued. This is something we saw even on Friday's trading session. It's another day of a nice uptick in Bharti Infratel. Anything that you would observe?
Well, I see it's actually a dead cat bounce kind of thing. Overall, the stock is in a bad, situation. It is in bearish control. So rather, it should be a sell on rise, because if you see right now, it has bounced from 176 to almost 40 rupees upside, and still there is some momentum seen. So I would say sell on rise around 2222 and keep a stop loss at 227, and downside we can see probably 202 190 in extreme short term.
Mr. Fidai recommends that you should consider selling this stock on a rise. Soumya, JSW Energy, it had its second quarter numbers and now an upgrade from CLSA. What are they saying?
Well, yes, and in fact, this one's flying higher in trade today. What the management told us, they're aiming to double their capacity to 10 gigawatt by 2024, and they're planning to focus and buy thermal and renewable assets to meet this goal. And now we have also CLSA upgrading the stock from sell to buy with a target price of 85 rupees per share. In fact, they believe that the 2 times capacity goal is to re-leverage the balance sheet, and this is all going to augur really well for JSW Energy. And this is also reflected in the stock prices, and the stock's definitely gaining close to about 8% today on back of all these developments.
A massive surge seen in the stock price of JSW Energy today. And Pranay, of course, another important stock to watch is Yes Bank. Second quarter numbers, how were they? What is the brokerage? What are brokerages saying?
Well, the numbers were not good. Actually, the loss is bigger than expectation because of a one-time deferred tax asset. The asset quality is also worsened. Also, what is quite bad is the fact that the provisions will remain elevated for a couple of quarters. Management has said that bulk of the bad asset recognition is behind us, but it's still going to weigh on profitability. So the stock had opened down about 10%, but has seen good recovery from there because of the efforts that they are taking on capital raising, where management has spoken of multiple options available to them, whether it is from a single institution or from a family office or other large investors. And since it is around the corner, maybe expected in the next 6 to 8 weeks, that is something which has spurred optimism in the counter that the bank will be able to survive with the capital that will come on hand, since that is required not just for their capital adequacy, but also for some bit of growth, and that is something which is supporting the stock right now.
All right, that's Yes Bank for you. It's right now at 66 rupees. You know, we just spoke about Bharti Infratel, and now there is some important news coming in with respect to some of these telecom companies. It just came this morning on the Economic Times, and not independently verified by us, but it looks like a government panel is considering a relief for the telecom sector, looking at a repayment period of as much as 20 years for the adjusted gross revenue dues, with possibly an initial moratorium based on the NPV method to sort of ease the burden on heavily indebted companies, case in point being a Vodafone Idea. There has, subsequently been quite a rebound, quite a surge in Bharti Airtel and the Vodafone Idea. Airtel is 1.9% higher, Vodafone Idea is 5% higher, and the ancillary stock, and that's Bharti Infratel, that's too gaining very, very smartly. Also, it is considering a reduction in the total incidence of taxation, again, to help the troubled sector. This is, of course, an ET report, and at this point of time, these are just draft recommendations, nothing on pen and paper. Okay, let's continue talking about the metal space. We just had a word on JSPL, and now another stock that continues to rise is Tata Steel. In fact, it's at 420 now. Mr. Fidai, do you think this could continue its up move?
I believe the stock is in very good, strong momentum in extreme short term. It has given a very good technical breakout. One should buy on dips if possible, around 412 and 404. Keep a tight stop loss below 396. Upsides, you can see it may go up to 444, 448 or even higher. But longer term trend remains a bit, bearish. So basically, it would be a trade and not an investment bet.
That's Tata Steel for you. It's 4.2% higher in trade today. Okay, let's take a look at the RWI small case and see if it is participating in the rally with as much fervor. And yes, it is. It's 0.4% higher, just a tad bit below that 570 mark. So good going for the RWI small case as well. Quick break on Market Fatafat, and yes, like we told you earlier as well, ET now is number one. So we'll just take a very short break. Come right back as we continue the countdown. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now, where we are talking about all the big movers and shakers in this market rally today. So let's continue with that countdown. Soumya, BEML, today it's a bit down in trade. Yes, there's all that divestment news as well that's surrounding this one. But first, on the second quarter numbers, how has that turned out?
Well, Mobina, it was a poor show by BEML on all fronts. Talking about the top line, we saw a degrowth of over 6.4% on a YOY basis. In fact, the company incurred heavy losses of about 27.2 crore versus a profit of 16.6 crore in the last year. Well, this loss was mainly on account of inventory losses that led to a widening of these losses. Not just this, even on the operating front, the EBITDA loss was at around 7.2 crore versus a positive EBITDA of 44.7 crore in the last year. So definitely very poor show by BEML, and the stock's definitely tanking on back of these numbers.
Okay, that's of course the view then coming in on a BEML just bang at the 1,000 rupee mark. Pranay, meantime, Lakshmi Cement, how have the second quarter numbers been? Because most of the cement companies that have delivered their numbers so far have suffered a tad bit on the top line front.
And when it comes to Lakshmi Cement, Mobina, volumes have been soft, though they've still managed a revenue growth of about 10% thanks to their product mix and also the pricing improvement that they had seen. As a result, the EBITDA margins have also jumped up 410 basis points to 16.6%. This was also partly aided by softer input costs, particularly on power as well as their raw material transportation. And as a result, they believe that margins will remain steady. But if prices pick up further from here along with demand, then you will see a further improvement in their margins in Q3 onwards. From a small base, the profit has jumped up 6x. Overall, compared to estimates, the numbers are just slightly better.
Okay, slightly better than estimates, but the stock price certainly is rallying. It's almost 8% of gain seen. Okay, very quickly, second quarter numbers also for Trident, which has definitely been a great outperformer, since the last 2 odd months, from levels of 55 odd rupees is jumped to 65 odd rupees. Now, second quarter numbers were a bit okayish. We had a top line degrowth at 1,340 crores versus 1,400 crore rupees. That in turn led to a bit of a subdued EBITDA number as well at 259 crores. But because of the whole equation, the margins comparatively did well. And then, of course, you had the tax boost that in turn aided the bottom line growth. 139 crores is where the profit after tax came in at versus 110 crores. Okay, Mr. Fidai, another stock that's bouncing is Motherson Sumi, a great up move seen over here. It's now at 126 odd rupees, if I'm not mistaken. Do you think this can continue?
Well, this momentum can continue, Mubina, if it is able to cross beyond 128, 130. If it doesn't, then we'll have to buy on dips around 120, up to 123, and we need to keep a tight stop loss at 118. Upsides, if it crosses 128, 130, I would say it will just rush away to 139, 148 in extreme short term. So it's a great buy if it crosses. It's a momentum play there. But on the dips also, overall it is in a bullish momentum. So one can buy on dips to 123 also.
Okay, that's Motherson Sumi. It's at 126 rupees. Soumya, Advanced Enzymes, how are the second quarter numbers for this company?
Well, this one was able to report a good set of numbers on majorly all fronts. The revenue saw a good growth of over 8%, but what's really interesting is the profit growth of over 25% compared to last year to nearly 31 crore rupees in this quarter. Not just this, on the operating performance front, EBITDA saw a good growth of over 15.4%, and the margins also significantly expanded by over 260 basis points to nearly 42.2% in this quarter. So given this fact, we saw the stock rallying today. It's although off from the day's high, but still gaining close to about 2.5%.
Okay, that is a view then on Advanced Enzymes. That's 2% higher. Pranay, Bajaj Finance, all eyes on the QIP.
Well, yes, and it's expected to be around 8,000 crore, maybe as high as 8,500 crore rupees. The earlier indications have been that the demand is good. The pricing, though, could be at 3 to 5% discount from the current levels. But as you can see, the stock is up about 1.5–2% right now. So it's likely to go through smoothly.
Okay, 4093 for a Bajaj Finance. Okay, Midhani is another stock we'd like to flag off, and the second quarter numbers were pretty decent. I mean, at a time when, we are seeing steel companies struggle because of compression in steel spreads, and then, the margins not doing well in terms of profitability not doing well, Midhani has actually managed to outperform. Now, do remember that Midhani is not your regular steel player. It is into specialized alloys, ferro alloys, and some of its customers or clients as well are from niche categories like aerospace, defense, etc. So it's a very niche company, and that perhaps explains or partially explains that 48% surge in the top line at 170 crores and 75% surge in the bottom line, 35.8 crores. In fact, if you look at it, it's got one of the best net profit margins as well in the industry, in the metals industries in general, for the simple reason that it is into specialty metal products, and I think that's something that sets Midhani a class apart. Okay, Mr. Fidai, let's talk about Biocon. Today's move is one of the biggest that we have seen in many months, the intraday move that is. What do you make of this uptick?
Well, I see it's given a very strong reversal from after giving a dip. So it is a very it's in momentum. I would say one can buy it on dips right now, intraday also around 255, 251. Keep a tight stop loss below 246. The upsides would open up more. Like first target is 265. So if it crosses 265, 268, then we'll see 270, 280, and even higher also. So the stock is a good tradable stock right now on the long side.
Okay, that's Biocon for you. It's 5.2% of a surge seen over here. And Soumya, KEC International, what exactly is a trigger for this stock today?
Well, this one is buzzing on back of order wins, and they have secured new orders worth over 1,800 crore rupees, and this definitely ensures good momentum growth outlook as far as the top line is concerned. Not just this, railways constitutes close to about 1,300 crores of this entire order of about 1,800 crores, and now this remains a high growth trajectory for KEC International, which is definitely buzzing on back of these wins.
1.7% higher for a KEC International. And finally, stock number 20, Pranay, Jyothy Labs.
Well, yes, Mobina, here the promoters have sold about 4.2% stake, and institutional investors like UTI Mutual Fund and Reliance Mutual Fund have been the buyers. We don't know the reason or the nature behind this sale, but the fact that long only institutional investors have moved in should provide some price stability.
All right, that's Jyothy Labs. It's at the day's low. But on that note, we're done with the 20 stocks, so we'll wrap it up. Mr. Fidai, thank you so much for joining us in our ET Now studios to talk about those individual stocks. Pranay and Soumya, to you as well. Okay, well, we also did have a word with Harsha Upadhyay of Kotak AMC earlier this morning, and he remains cautious on fundamentals, but he is bullish on mid and small caps. Listen in.
Sentiments have improved and liquidity has also improved post the tax rate cut announcements. Having said that, the fundamentals will take time to really start showing better numbers. So to that extent, I think it's going to be a consolidation phase. One needs to be cautious that it will take time for fundamentals to improve, and hence look at it as more of a investment phase rather than trying to really take more risk and look for short-term gains. Mid and small cap basket is clearly giving more relative valuation comfort, and that's where you will probably end up making more money than the large cap over the medium to long term. If you look at the sales, the wholesale sales have been slightly better or slightly lower than already subdued expectations across the street. But what is hurting is the kind of retail sales numbers that we have seen across segments, which shows that inventory in the pipeline or inventory at the distribution level is going to be a lot lesser post the festive season, which augurs well for the industry. So to that extent, one has to be cautious in terms of what valuations some of these stocks are trading, and whether the improvement in retail sales numbers that we saw, whether that will continue into the next few quarters or not. We would rather be more positive on the two-wheelers than commercial vehicles or passenger vehicles at this point of time because of the relative valuation comfort. The leaders will continue to do well. I think it's been best of the both worlds for them. They have got ample liquidity, and also they have got benefit of lower interest rate at this point of time, and also in terms.
Okay, that of course is Harsha Upadhyay of Kotak AMC. With that, we'll wrap it up on Market Fatafat. Coming up next is Markets at Noon.